if you stick with that mind that it's bad for us, you will just be stuck with that for the next years and we just left behind while other people.
We help them basically change the culture of thinking about AI.
And they say like 10,000 per month now, thanks to this solution that costs them less.
That is very unique, and then you can spread out to help them make a lot of more money than they could otherwise with those low-code solutions.
I don't like AI, I don't want to use it, it's not good for the world, it's not good for this, it's going to replace my husband's job, this, that, and the other.
And that made the company more than $200,000 of extra revenue.
Online world will be more and more run by AI and AI agents. 9 times out of 10, people appreciate being told that this is an AI assistant.
It's interesting right now that a lot of people are scared of it, and no matter how good it gets, they're still not very receptive to it just because of the concept of what it stands for and what it can do.
Not our favorites, but AI is perfect for this. Hey everybody, this is our first AI mastermind in 2025, and this time we are on a beautiful island in Thailand named Koh Phangan. We are 10 AI business owners, all came together sharing valuable knowledge with all of you guys. We're gonna have a quick intro of everybody now, and after that we're gonna jump into a very valuable discussions about all the learnings we made in the past 18 months having an AI business. In the past few days we talked about a lot of valuable things between our businesses, and we also had presentations about our key learnings in the past 12 months, and especially in the past 6 months since we had the last mastermind. In the upcoming discussion, we're gonna share our key takeaways and learnings with all of you so you can have a shortcut to success.
Hi everyone, my name is Emil. I'm co-founder and head of product at OmniFusion AI and Auto GDM. We do in-store outreach with Auto GDM, and we are now focusing on building AI sales systems for businesses in 2025.
Hey everybody, my name's Taha. I work at Prompt Advisors and Mic. Our biggest product right now is voice agents, where we help businesses basically either upgrade or replace their entire call center using AI agents. Hi, my name is Mark, and I'm co-founder and CEO of the company Prompt Advisors, where we run AI agents, we run custom development, corporate education, and consulting, pretty much helping all businesses in every industry better understand where to put AI best in their workflows.
Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Dave. I'm the founder of Data Lumina. We specialize in building custom data and AI solutions for our clients. So we do all custom builds, focus on AI consulting. And next to that, we also have a lot of educational programs targeted at developers who want to get started with data and AI.
All right, hi everyone. My name is Serdar BC and I'm the CEO of OmniFusion AI and Auto GDM. We do automated cold outreach with Auto GDM, and at OmniFusion AI, we are helping businesses implement AI sales agents who are helping to nurture, reactivate, and convert leads into sales appointments fully on autopilot.
Hi, my name is Jannis. I run an agency that focuses specifically on lead reactivation, as well as helping teams to be trained on the voice AI stuff. So generally solutions on how they can implement it in their business. And on the other hand, we have an educational program where we help agency owners to get started in the voice AI space.
What's up everyone, my name is Shaz Matthew. I run TrackAI.io. We help companies build their social media presence leveraging AI so they can get inbound leads and build a brand and do cool stuff like this.
Hey, what's up? My name is Bogdan. I run an AI agency called Bolsar Agency. We provide custom AI agents, both text-based and voice-based, for businesses, and we customize them to their needs.
Hey there everyone, I'm Riccardo. I'm founder of Uplifted Consulting, where we focus on AI workflows for marketing and sales teams.
Hey guys, I'm Samin. I'm a founder of the company AI Answers, and what we do is we build AI sales agents that convert inbound leads. What that means is if people are showing interest in your company, we get them to show up in a sales call.
Thank you everyone for the intro.
Thank you.
I think that helped everyone to understand who we are talking to and why we know what we are talking about. Everyone here has an AI company for at least 12 months, and collectively we have more than a decade experience running an AI agency, which I think is very valuable to everyone out there as this business is just growing and the demand is growing as well. I prepared one question and I would like to give you my take on it and then also hear other people's take on it, because I think that's going to be high value for everyone listening. All right, my question is, what's your single biggest learning while implementing solutions for businesses over the past 12 months? So for most of us, this was the first year of business or maybe scratching off the second year. So what's the biggest learning you guys had while implementing thousands of solutions into different companies, into different niches, into different use cases and so on? I want to answer this first by saying, I would say for me, the biggest learning while selling these solutions is that the businesses who need the solution as use case don't care about the technology. It's really fancy to say it's a multi-channel agentic system and works on this and this technology, but most clients actually don't care. As soon as I started to say, hey, we are actually selling appointments. So if you have leads, we make sure they appear in calls. If you have old leads, we make sure that they are re-engaged, they are reactivated, they are nurtured, they are followed up. until we get a no or a booked call. Then they understood the real value of what we provide. And they actually, specifically for our business, as we are running all the solutions for the clients as well, they don't really care about any technology. They don't want to know any API. They don't want to know which server, which hosting we're using, which AI model we're using. They actually just care about the good result. So that's one of my biggest learnings while implementing solutions, that most businesses want the solution. They want the leads, they want the calls, they want the automation, but they don't care how you do it.
My biggest learning probably in the last 6 months is actually something that I bring on every single sales call that I go on, is business owners, first of all, they don't actually know what they want. And I also feel like a lot of people don't understand that there's basically 2 sections to building any agent. You have, in our case, voice agents. There's the voice, which how does it sound? What does it say? What does it know? Etc. Then there's the environment that the robot actually lives, which means you can have something like ChatGPT, but if they can't interact with the system that you currently have going on, it'll be pointless. They can't check your calendar, they can't check your emails, they can't check your Instagram account, whatever system you want to connect this to. Having that connection is, well, if you don't have it, you won't be able to build here. And I had to explain this quite deeply to a lot of business tools I talk to, because they see a video of ChatGPT working like, oh, just make me that. That's not the hard part. The connection is actually where probably 60% of the work actually goes.
One of the key takeaways that I saw for this year is that people don't actually know what is possible with AI. There's a lot of thought that goes into educating the different audience about what is actually possible. Because the moment someone can understand what is actually possible, is the moment where they expand their mind and they expand their thought of what are the different avenues where they can use AI. Maybe they start to think about how they can use AI within their marketing ecosystem, but after they implement an initial solution, they think about where it could be also applied in sales, in customer support, in delivery, and any other areas.
Yeah, so I'd like to elaborate on what Taha just said. The most important aspect being integrations and connections between different tools that a business uses. One of the learnings that we've had at the agency is that the off-the-shelf solutions, they are evolving like quickly. And currently, business owners, they can just go to the off-the-shelf solution and get it installed by themselves. Maybe that is more from the perspective of running an AI agency, and might be relevant to people who want to leverage this community and sell AI solutions. If you stick to no-code solutions only, the demand might not be there soon, because the businesses can use ready and pre-configured tools instead of using your services. So you need to level up your technical expertise to be able to dive into development and actually connect and integrate it to their different systems that they use. And then you'll be protected. And moreover, if you dive deeper and go vertical and you can pre-build more integrations for a particular industry, then you'll be golden and really you'll have your unparalleled advantage. So that was our learning. That's what I'm saying.
Just for context, what would be an example of a off-the-shelf solution?
So for example, I featured Chatbase as a tool made as on my channel, where you can create an AI chatbot. And a year ago, you could only add a custom knowledge base and a prompt, and that's it. You can deploy it to your website as a bubble. And that's it. Now they implemented WhatsApp integration, they implemented CRM integrations with HubSpot, etc. So it is becoming more and more pre-configured and advanced. And the way to compete with it is to just be more technically advanced and being able to dive deeper into that connections and integrations between each other.
So what you need to remember is that we're competing with humans. So the thing with these like pre-built solutions is that a lot of times it's the last 20% which actually allow you to compete with humans, compared to like just creating a simple agent and then put it into WhatsApp. But those last 20% of how real is it, how well does it handle objections, how well does it actually speak, is where we could sort of provide value compared to a lot of these tools. I'm not sure how soon tools are going to get there, where it's like fully like better than a human.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of other advantages too, like speed of reply, never sleeps, like you don't need to manage human team and all of that stuff. But these last 20% are sort of like the biggest benefit, where we can sort of beat these pre-configured systems.
So yeah, to add to Emil, your point, the biggest thing here is the one metric businesses are after is the result. So there is a number that they are going after your AI to solve for them. Whether it be something like that you said, appointments, that there are a number of appointments to solve, it's your show critical. These can be solved in very specific regions. So as you mentioned, like how verticalization is super important, because that's when you understand the business the best, and the same sorts of businesses where you can have the most impact. So yeah, results basically everything. That's all we need. And that's why this rise of the vertical kind of AI agents and these companies all just care about the one thing. Tech doesn't matter. It's just what we're getting to the business with. Yeah.
I would actually argue that point, meaning not necessarily, it doesn't have to be better. It might be even slightly worse. But if your cost of acquisition, let's say you were paying somebody $1,000 or $10,000 a month as your sales rep, even if the robot is 80% as good as the person, your cost is now from $10,000 a month to maybe $100. All of that money can now be spent back into marketing. So even if it might not be directly better in the back end financially, most of the time, I think that actually makes sense where you can get more customers, even the conversion rate goes down slightly.
Also, there's other things that make up for it not being as good.
Yeah.
Like I just mentioned.
Yeah.
The speed of reply, it never misses a follow-up, it never forgets this, it always replies, never sleeps, you don't have turnover for appointment setters. Like so many other benefits can make up for the fact that maybe it's not as good on the phone yet, but that's going to change this year. I think we all agree, like, like 6 months, who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to be crazy.
Also, I want to add on that for now, specifically having these questions in the room now, it's very important to separate ourselves and very important to showcase the difference between the tool and what we do, right? Because most people here are not working on the tool. Some people do work on the SaaS, some people have a SaaS. However, it's important to differentiate between a $99 per month SaaS tool and a couple thousand a month or even more retainer with a sophisticated agency like we are. I had this happen a couple times when I was, for example, when I've been to the Hormozy event a couple of weeks ago, I was explaining to a small group of people what we do. We build AI that's basically replacing appointment setters, doing a better job, being cheaper, and so on. And then someone in the crowd obviously immediately like, yeah, I used AppointmentWise and it was shit. I didn't know what AppointmentWise is. Quickly checked it out. It's some tool for $49 a month or something. I'm like, obviously, that's not what we provide. We provide similar, like how I try to explain it to people. And I think it's similar to what you guys can say in your own businesses and in your own niches is we literally educate and build an employee inside of your business as if you would be onboarded by your HR team, working hand in hand with the rest of your team in your CRM, with your calendars, with your systems, with the social media accounts connected, with access to all other tools a normal employee would also have. And he's doing the same work the other employees are doing as well, just without breaking, without going into time off, without sleeping, working 24/7 and all this kind of stuff. A tool will never reach that kind of customization. And I think most of us have exactly this balancing act right now between how custom is it for this client and how often can I sell it this year to make the maximum amount of money. And I think that's like the most important balance act we have right now. However, still want to put it out there. You have to differentiate yourself from tools if you are providing a similar service, because just as Emil said, sometimes a company might pay $49 a month for 70% of the solution, but the same company is ready to pay $50,000 to just get to 85% of that solution. And some companies will even pay millions to get to 90%. So it's exponentially getting higher pay with the percentage of implementation going higher as well.
Yeah.
And I think I really like the concept that you mentioned about having the AI employee, because like in the future, we will have this part where we have the human employee and the AI employee that work in the same way. Because if you think about that, the AI employee is just the same as a human employee. They need context, they need training, they need feedback, and all of these things are things that we are implementing when we are building these custom solutions. And it's a reinforcement process. It's a reinforcement of learning in order to build the best solutions for this kind of thing. So yeah, I think that's really, really interesting. That's
Well, definitely agree.
Probably the easiest way to differentiate us and other tools is if the example you gave, if a tool was for $50 a month doing the exact same thing that we would do, we wouldn't have a job. We wouldn't have companies. The fact that we still exist, the fact that we are thriving is because businesses try these $50 a month tools and then realize that the success is only as good as the implementation. I mean, once again, going back to the environment thing, if the tool you're using or the people who are putting in your business don't know what they're doing or don't know how to make it successful for you, whether it's $50 a month or even if it's free, it doesn't actually provide the solution you're looking for, which is why people come to us after trying this.
So an interesting point we see in our agency is that there's some massive gap between no-code tools and full-code solutions. And we see that especially with more mid-sized to enterprise clients, because In the beginning, it obviously makes a lot of sense to build things as quickly as possible, which is why we like no-code tools a lot, right? We can deliver very fast, they can see how it works, and that's super valuable for both MVPs and POCs, so proof of concepts and minimal viable products. And once that is developed, and that we've seen quite a couple of times, and they've proven the concept that it actually works, they always want to move away from no-code tools to full code. Obviously, because it's not just more efficient, it's also a lot cheaper. So that's something that was very, very interesting for us to learn. And I believe that this is just going to get bigger, this gap in between.
I can follow up on that because this is also our area of expertise, of course, building full custom solutions. And I agree with what you're saying. And also one other point, if you are working with enterprises or even like some larger companies, using low-code, no-code tools is often like not even a question. Like we can share data with all of these tools. We want to have it in-house. We want someone that can also eventually maintain it. I think as we move further into the future and AI is going to get better, we have all of these different models. Privacy and ethics is also going to be a major concern for most people working with AI. So I agree. The whole world is right now like trying to get started. What works? Do these quick MVPs, prototypes, proof of concepts, whatever. But now we're seeing more and more serious applications being built and also being fully put into production. And that is definitely where custom solutions can come in, which is a whole different concept to work on. Much bigger projects, much more overhead. But that is where you can focus on going from like 80% to like the 95% that might be needed to really put something into production for hundreds or thousands or even millions of customers.
So since you're in that space and you know that, you probably also know that the privacy concerns, like you mentioned, are big, right? So whenever we get inquiries about how the whole privacy thing looks like, if you look at no-code tools, they mostly don't even know themselves what privacy means. The tools involved, right? So it's up to us to figure that out, which is impossible. So moving certain things out is gonna be, you just have to do it. Like there's no other way around.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why I think this year especially, we're gonna see a lot more locally run LLMs, locally run integrations that just help us to move this process toward a custom solution.
Yeah. The future will definitely be smaller models, open source, companies can self-host for a specific task. We're not there yet. Right now, most of these smaller models are not good enough yet if you compare it to OpenAI and Tropic, for example. But I think that is definitely where we're going. And I think it's also really good for also us as developers, but also for enterprises looking into these like more open source models and what it could mean, and where, for example, more simpler tasks can be just as done as efficiently with like a cheaper or smaller or open source model.
Yep, exactly. And that's something where I think, especially there's another opportunity that arises from that, which is this whole consultational thing, especially because we're now in the early stages of trying to figure those things out. You can imagine once we figured it out, we can just upsell that as consultation to teams that have no idea about how this stuff works. So that is another thing where you can actually make quite a lot of money just for the fact of the knowledge that you have. That is very unique, and then you can spread out to help them make a lot of more money than they could otherwise with those no-code solutions.
I've got a follow-up question about that. So let's say I'm watching this, and I'm here again, I'm using Make, I'm using Zapier, right? Where do I start? I want to get to the point where I'm using something that's more custom. What do I look at? Do I have to hire a dev? What tools should I look into? Where do I start?
Well, the first thing what we always seen is that they want to have a POC, a proof of concept, done on no-code tools. Once that is done, we see what it actually solves, because that's often very unclear. Sometimes they're still trying to see what is actually the most viable solution they can get from that. And once you have that, you know exactly which part are the most important ones to make this thing work. And that's when you look for a solution that is maybe code-based, right? To give you an example, we had some clients that, for example, want to have a custom workflow automation tool and relying on Make.com. So Make.com is a workflow automation tool that allows you to let services talk to each other, and that is hosted. So meaning they share the data. That is obviously not good for those bigger clients. So what do? They need to find an alternative solution. So there are self-hosted tools like N8N, right? You can have this on your very own server and have it run there, but it's again, just clicking things back and forth. And when you actually learn about that, so in the beginning, you just create a workflow visually with drag and drop features. When you learn about that, you will see that looping through data is incredibly complicated with no-code tools. And that's exactly where it came in. We, for example, had this as a big issue, that these repetitive loops, they cost so many operations, it became really expensive for the client. And we did research. And what did we find? There's a software called Trigger.dev. It's a open source tool that allows you to do as well workflow automations, but it's fully code-based. But instead of us building the whole infrastructure, it is already predefined. So all we need to do is we need to use AI, for example, or really good developers to create functions that can integrate, do the same thing as a no-code tool does, but full encode optimized without any kind of these really expensive operations. And that is, again, on the variable server, makes the whole things cheaper. So it's always usage-based, I think. Learning a software just for the sake of learning a software is not really good. So if you want to start with something like make.com, it's probably better to have a use case in mind. There are so many different angles that you can start learning something. But the best learning experience is if you try to solve an actual problem, because that allows you to see the whole flow and why you do certain things.
Right, so guys, if I understood correctly, let's say I'm myself, I'm not a developer. I try to make solution.com. Once I'm had a concept, maybe 8% of the way there, then I would try to maybe hire somebody to actually build it up in code correctly.
Yeah, that is a very, very viable approach, because in the end, you need to think that every single module that you connect with another thing, it's just what we call an API, right? A request to somewhere else. And a request is just a transaction between one website to another website, sharing data around it. It's like we communicating, we exchanging stuff. So if I say something to you, it's like a request, right?
And following up on that, I think with that question, say you have a makeup come on, ultimately you want to move to the next step. Like the first step is also really thinking about the direction of where you want to go with your company. Do you want to have a dev team or developers in-house that can maintain it and you want to manage in-house, or do you need a partner for that? Now, there are going to be pros and cons to each and every one of those, of course. But since AI is here and since AI is not going anywhere, it's only going to get bigger. This is, I think, a long-term thing that most founders have to think about. What is the talent that I need in order to prepare for these AI revolutions? Depending on the size of your company, it might make sense to have a small dev team. It might not make sense. Then you're going to outsource it. But of course, there's going to be a price point attached to this. And there's also a big shift once you move from once you move from low-code, no-code tools towards custom dev, there's a lot more maintenance with these projects, maintenance and overhead, where with make.com, of course, there's maintenance, but typically once it's implemented, it's implemented correctly, that can run with custom software. You need a dev, like I'm looking at that at least like every week, ideally every day. You need monitoring, logging, and things are going to break. You need to update things. So that alone could play into that decision. Like, do I want this in-house? Do I want to outsource that? And it's really a big leap. It's really a whole different like types of projects that you're dealing with.
I have a follow-up question for you, Dave.
Yeah.
While you were answering, you said privacy is gonna get more important for businesses, and it's already showing in the talks we have that privacy is something companies care more and more about while implementing AI. But you also said ethics.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit more about that. What do you mean?
Yeah, sure. So on those aspects, is like on the one hand, it's going to be you hear more and more about how these AI companies are gathering their data, and a lot of that shit is pretty unethical. At least from what we've heard, based on what we've seen right now. Since there are going to be so many competitors out there, I think in the future it could very well be the case that a company doesn't decide to go with, for example, OpenAI, just based on all of the information that is now available on how they train their models. This is an assumption, I'm not sure, but this could very well be the case. Next to that, we have also using AI within this decision-making process that could introduce certain types of biases. This has already for a long time been a problem in machine learning, where we have like classification, ranking, stuff like that. Machine learning models are biased because they are trained on the data that humans provide, and humans are biased. So how then, with an AI, do you manage that and oversee that? So I think it's twofold. It's the companies that make the technology that you're using. I think companies are going to have to make decisions. And also, okay, so how do you integrate AI? And then how do you use it effectively? So also, for example, there are a lot of companies that do outreach with AI. A lot of companies right now, they position themselves as a real human that's sending these messages. That also could raise for some companies some ethical considerations. Like, do you mention that you're talking to an AI or do you not? And what are the consequences of that? I think more and more the online world will be more and more run by AI and AI agents. And should we let people know? That is really a question for like every company on its own to like figure out how they want to go about that.
So to the outreach point, to the outreach point,
yeah,
I understand, but there's been like a rapid regulation in the space.
Yeah,
especially for like cold outreach.
Yeah.
Whether it comes for SMS or calls, we can't really just cold do that. So especially with AI, because it's classified under this thing called as like a robocall, and you can get fined a lot if you do that in the United States.
Yeah.
So these are like some ethical considerations we have to make sure we know before we start, because it's really easy to just like get a random tool, spin something up, and start doing all this outreach. Yeah. But if you kind of like, if you get a bad customer who complains, who knows about this stuff, they might be quite painful if you find out. So it's good to know all this ethics and what's legal to do, especially when it comes to outreaching, because there's so many scammers that use that. So we should be on the safe side of using it, and ideally letting people know. I'm sure that's going to be a thing in as we move on.
Yeah, so I respond to that as well. So ethics is not going to be something that's fixed. Yeah, it's not going to be static. It's going to be dynamic. So last week there was this meme on LinkedIn that someone wrote to Amazon in chat about the app, and it wrote that his name is Anchor. And it wrote that because most of their customer servers are in India. And then they wrote, "Are you an AI?" And it said, "No, I'm a human." And then they said, "Build me a full-scale web app." And then it wrote all the code proving that it was an AI.
So super smart human.
Highly unlikely. But the idea is right now it's unethical to try to pull a fast one on people and say that this is a real person. Same thing with voice agents. 9 times out of 10, people appreciate being told that this is an AI assistant. But that's because the majority of people have not caught up to what this is. When what Dave said becomes true, which is like 90 to 100% of interactions online are agent first, we won't have to do that anymore. Now the expectation will be by default that it is an AI, and it'll be a luxury or a weird surprise if it's a human. So ethics will also evolve from an experiential standpoint as the expectations of the average consumer adapt to what's happening in the market.
I actually have a question for you guys. It's really some really important points about ethics. My question is, how do I send business around multiple? Right? I'm seeing all my competitors use AI. How do I find the balance between not getting crushed by my competition who is using these products and doing it for myself while I'm also destroying my what do I do?
This is a really tough question, and I would definitely don't say that like most of these AI tools are unethical. I think it's also much more about how you use them as a business owner. So that's where you have control. The fact that these models are out there, how they are trained, we don't know 100% for sure. There is data involved, data that is available on the internet. That is generally also, when it comes to scraping, a really like gray area when it comes to what's legal and what's not. So I would focus on the things that you have within your control. So use the tools, but use them ethically. And then if you want to go one step further, you could do more research into the companies behind it and read up on that.
If you take the exact example I gave, the Amazon one, what they should have done, or could have done as a business, is just be upfront and say, instead of Anchor, stereotyping a customer service name to give you the impression that it might be AI, just say, "Hi, my name is Sarah and I'm your AI assistant. I'm trained on all these tasks. Before you go to a human, I've been upskilled to be able to do X, Y, and Z." So we inform the user that this is not a normal chatbot with just a knowledge base. You can do more. It's maybe more agentic. And then you use that, and the more transparent you are with your users or clients, the more they'll appreciate it. And then you get feedback. And then you have a nice flywheel where you feel less guilty because you're always being forthcoming.
I also think that adding to this, especially to this example, that we will see a shift maybe this year or next year in the consumer behavior, because so far, or let's say until now, in the past 2 years, all the companies who tried to implement AI chatbots, like the bigger companies, let's say the result was mediocre most of the time. So if in this case, they probably felt, okay, this would be a bad experience if we say, hey, this is an AI bot chat, so that you have a negative perception of the chat and what it can do immediately, because people who are searching for support are just used to talk to humans. But I think we will have a shift there, and we all be part of that, I hope, that in a year or so, people will, if they have the choice to wait for a human or to talk to an AI directly, that they will always choose the AI, because then the AI is more capable of doing things, answers correctly, you can rely on it, it's there 24/7, you don't need to wait until the next business day and someone gets back to you and yada, yada, yada. So if you need support somewhere today, you already appreciate fast feedback, and we're all sharing good companies who provide a good feedback, right? Like also IGDM does. And joke. But many companies who try to do AI kind of support things in the past 1, 2, 3 years were like on the forefront of the technology, but they also got the bash of, bro, this AI is so stupid. It doesn't understand what I want. It gives me the same answer all over again. So the perception for talking to an AI right now is bad, I would say, on average. Like people would choose to talk to a human rather still. But I think in the business sense where you just want to get your answer, just want to know how it works, just want to see what's wrong with your billing, why is my invoice like this, can I upgrade, can I downgrade, all of these usual consumer questions we have, I would rather have a super smart AI to talk to instead of waiting for a human all day long. And I think this is going to be a perception shift in the consumer behavior right now, this year, maybe next year. A very good example for this, to be honest, is Revolut. This is a bank, which you might know from Europe. Yeah. And they have an AI inside of their app. And it's really fucking good. Like, it's sick good. The memory it holds is really insane. Like, it's you can see that someone knowing that shit built it. So probably one company similar to us built that thing, and it's not some bot press, knowledge press, and prompt combination. It does things. It can upgrade you. It sees your activity. Again, the privacy thing. It sees your transactions. Is it the local LLM? Is the OpenAI see all that? That's the question again. But again, as said, the quality of that AI is high. And if I have a question now, I'm super happy to talk to this AI thing instead of waiting 2 days for a real reply to maybe just continue the conversation. So sometimes you get 2 days later the question, oh, did you try this already? And then you're like, oh, 2 days gone. And if you would have that AI system, you'd be like, no, yes, fixed. So I think the efficiency is just so much higher, and I think consumers will now catch up with the quality of
There's always for every new technology just a curve. There's like the early birds, and like the innovators, like early starters. We are nowhere near the mass adoption point. Nowhere. So this is actually really, really new technology, and this is the worst it's ever going to be. True. Already it's effective in the right hands, which means as time goes on, mass adoption will mean that everyone is using it. So for example, now, I don't know if you know this, but like if you call Domino's to order a pizza, it's going to be a voice that's going to be taking your order. They implemented this pretty well. It works. Slowly, this is happening. And with this with companies, we know, like Land, this is like something that's coming across one by one. It's just, we have to get used to it. Like, for example, now if we call any other business, we're going to get an IVR, and we're used to it. We don't really mind. Or they go, we know this. And it slowly, voice AI is going to take over everything. And we're going to be starting to see the shift in customer behavior. And it's a better experience overall. So everyone's like, good.
Yeah, going on that. I just think it's sort of interesting that as mass adoption sort of becomes available, we're nowhere near that. There's always a segment of the population that just hates new technologies. No matter how good the Domino's voice agent is or the Amazon support bot is, it's AI, you hang up, even if it's better than that human being. So I just think it's really interesting that there's a lot of pushback as, AI is going to take your jobs and rule the world, is going to do this, do that. Like there's always that segment of people. And I think it's a lot because it's just scary and people don't like what they're scared of. So I think it's interesting right now that a lot of people are scared of it. And no matter how good it gets, they're still not very receptive to it just because of the concept of what it stands for and what it can do.
Yeah. And it's good to see that that's going to be exactly the same thing that felt the internet is going away.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just the hype. Internet is not the thing. Yeah. It's not going to stay. I think it stayed.
Yeah. So it's very interesting to see. And then as marketers and things of that nature, you have to keep that into account. So if you're selling services and you're doing things of this nature, like we talked about way back at the beginning of the podcast, you always got to sell the outcome. Because again, sometimes we can sell the outcome without even mentioning there's AI in between. Yet some people always have that just, I don't like AI, I don't want to use it. It's not good for the world. It's not good for this. It's going to replace my husband's job, this, that, and the other, whatever it is. So I just, it's all full circle. And it's human emotion mixed with this technology. It's really interesting times. But
it's just software, right? It still baffles me. Like everyone calls everything AI, although it's just software in the end. It just become a bit ubiquitous, the word AI. And I'm actually very interested to see when the word AI stops being used and it's just like X. Yeah, like build this app for it. This phone with us to
build this app for me.
Exactly.
5 years ago, this app or this automation.
We can do everything.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And yet, if you look at the actual AI part within most applications, it's actually a single API call to OpenAI. The other part is just software.
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting.
Next topic I want to discuss. As we're all here, right before we actually saw this podcast, we actually went over basically what happened in the last 6 months. So I think one thing that would be really useful is basically for us to go over what were the biggest impacts that we had for other businesses in the last 6 months. Probably the single biggest difference I made was we're working with this roofing company or construction company. And sales, and we're doing door sales. What's really difficult about door is not a lot of people can do it, and they can do it very long. When that happens then is you'll have a bunch of these new sales guys. Imagine like every week there's 3 or 4 new people who are coming in and out. One thing that's difficult that a lot of business owners are dealing with is how do I get that information into my CRM? How do I get names correctly, addresses correct, and how do I make sure that my people are actually following processes while also training them on sales? This company had this huge problem where all this data was just entered in. It was a gigantic mess because it makes sense. They want to focus on actually training their salespeople on sales, not on how to use the CRM. So what we built is a voice agent that anybody can pick up where even if they have zero experience with the system. The robot will tell them, hey, look, what do you need? Tell me the customer's name, tell me the customer's information, what product they want, etc. What's the appointment, whatever. Then on the back end, this conversation takes maybe a minute and a half. Everything that needs to be done in the CRM is done by the robot on the back end. Customer, or the employee in this case, calls it up, has a 9-second conversation, and then forgets about the link. And everything else is done on the back end. They now have better analytics on what actually sells. They don't miss appointments because, oh, I forgot to put it in the calendar in this one specific module. They can actually get back to focusing on sales. So that's probably the single biggest practical achievement that we've had in the last 6 months.
Really fire. I love that. I'm pretty sure it's a very happy client. I hope you have more in return. All right. We actually had a pretty big win for us personally in the company. We have our largest client is a US-based company. They're having kids entertainment venues, I would say. That's what they do. Similar to like pop-up stores. They're in some location for 12 weeks. Then they move on. 80 locations in total in US, rotating. They came to us for building AI sales team for their social media, basically, because they have 8 people who are still not able to get the outcome the company wanted. We took, I think, more than 6 months in general with multiple versions. The last final test with the last pilot city we have run that campaign on that pilot city for this specific client for 5 weeks. And the system generally works like this. We're getting leads from Meta, Instagram, and Facebook. Inside of Facebook and Instagram, we have deployed our AI agents. Immediately after clicking the ad, people get engaged with the chat in Facebook or in Instagram, where our AI agent is immediately taking them onto the conversation, qualifying them, scraping their Instagram account in the background, seeing if they qualify for the specific service. If they qualify, during the conversation, we had a couple more qualification requirements which need to be set. And we asked them for contact information like phone numbers, emails, how many people want to come to that specific venue. And then also we ask for the date and the time they want to appear. And the robot, as you call it, I think it's a nice name. The robot basically does everything in the background. It qualifies the lead. It books the appointment with their ticket booking system. It sends out the digital waiver to their phone number. It sends a confirmation for their booking to their email. And it's even going to remind them before they have their appointment on spot to appear there, how the weather is, and all these beautiful things. We did one pilot city to get people into this loop. And I'm very proud to say that we booked more than 2,200 tickets purely by AI, booking tickets, like real humane tickets, in 5 weeks. And that made the company more than $200,000 of extra revenue. And we charged them way too little for that. But yeah, this company is super happy. And now we're building on more agentic systems for them. But as it goes right now, we're most probably going to get all the other cities as well, which might stay our largest client for a long enough time. And also it's amazing, I think, to see how the impact actually is. Like 8 people, human people with 8 hours of work couldn't do the job our AI is now doing without talking to anyone, without having a payroll, without being sick, without communicating between 8 people. That gives a huge overhead. And I think for specifically these use cases, AI is just predetermined to fix these problems businesses have, right?
Similar system in a very, very, very different niche. It was for real estate. Same thing. I think this is probably also one area that AI might disrupt very soon, which is when people are showing interest, we need people to reach up fast, or AI agents that can reach up fast. There's multiple channels or any way that we can get that job done. So in that way, we have this client with like a massive list of leads, which are basically realtors. And what they wanted to do was they wanted to contact all of them over time. So over, let's say 6-10 months, see, hey, do you have off-market property that you might be selling? Then we can like give out like an auto cash offer and buy out the property. Because when you buy this, it's a lot cheaper than when you will buy it when it's listed on the market, right? So it's that little timing you have to attack. Because of that, what we did is we took like a massive list of realtors. And then we started using our AI agents to call and SMS them over time, just casually check in, hey, do you have something available that we can buy? And of course, initially, there wasn't many because this is like a numbers game. We have to do it over time. But as we extended this campaign for over 6-10 months, we see our clients could actually go out, send new people, and then buy properties out for all cash because of this, because people actually, these realtors had access to these new properties, which means they could buy the property, flip it, and then make several hundreds of thousands of dollars just because of one text, which they wouldn't have done without any other team. So that I thought was a really cool use case that with people, it's impossible to manage like 100,000 content, but with AI, you can do this. And it's a win-win on both sides because, hey, I have something to sell. I want to buy something, and then we just connect them together.
Just to add on that, I think that's a perfect use case for repetitive, maybe low leverage, consistent work, which we humans are just not good at, right? We're not consistent. We don't like to do low leverage tasks, and repetitive things are also not our favorites. But AI is perfect for this because it always does their follow-up. It always sends the message. It always takes every conversation serious. And while doing this, it costs maybe cents per conversation. So perfect use case. Just wanted to add on that.
We have a lot of experience automating customer care. So we're building a solution and we've onboarded several clients already where within 1 to 2 weeks, we can automate about 30% of all the incoming tickets. And one of the things that has been really successful with our approach is while automating these curves like 30%, escalating or leaving the other tickets untouched. So you can go live really quickly and get the value you want to get out of the system, while slowly but surely improving the system over time by adding more knowledge, more rules, etc. What we found is a lot of customers were annoyed by other solutions out there on the market right now that once you've set it up and you go live with your customer care solution, it tries to handle all the tickets, and then you have to manually give feedback at the ticket level in order to improve the system over time. We take a different approach. We say, okay, usually there's really a 20 distribution. What's like the low-hanging fruit, and we can go live really quickly with that, and also with confidence, and then just passing the other ones to the really human agents. That has been one of our big successes this year.
Awesome. Really good. It's actually very subjective what the biggest impact is. But because we had, for example, lead reactivation campaigns that we just for clients, and one of them was really successful. We helped them to probably get like an extra $500,000 in revenue just from this lead reactivation campaign. But compared to the company size, I would probably say it's like a smaller win. So if it comes to biggest impact, I'd probably even say the mid-sized businesses, they benefit more. We had this customer support case. It's an e-com company focusing on high ticket. So they sell high ticket outdoorsy things. And they have done this whole customer support and parts of the sales in-house. Counts as well for setting appointments to talk to any of their specialists internally. And there was not a real appointment setter inside of the company. It was parts of their employees that they initially hired for different tasks doing those calls. We implemented a full AI-based or voice-based solution that helped with customer support, so answering basic questions about how to clean certain things, how to set them up, etc. It asked for shipping details, so you could also ask where the shipment is, etc. And it could book appointments with dedicated specialists, and it could also live transfer them to specialists if they already had some appointment at this given time. And this system alone has helped their team to focus again on the tasks that they were initially planned on doing, instead of doing the whole customer support thing. So in other words, from what we've gathered from the data, they probably saved an additional 2 employees, which is crazy. If you take that in numbers, for that company, it makes a massive difference, which I think is even a bigger impact than helping to solve stuff for enterprises.
Yeah, so for us, actually appointment setting was quite a big deal. Most of our clients from last year were requesting a solution to replace people who were handling appointment setting. I have a particular example of a beauty clinic because we completed the project like several months ago, and now we can measure specific results for them. So the whole solution was a customer completes a form on their website, they leave a phone number, and then our AI agent, which is integrated to WhatsApp, instantly contacts the prospect. It does the lead qualification, which was important for them because the service they provide is very specific and you need to qualify according to their
specific set of questions. Then it is integrated with their CRM system, so it goes all to their system. Appointment setting is done automatically. It is integrated with a calendar. Everything is synced, and we also automate the payment process. So the Stripe payment link will be sent to the customer, and then the appointment will be booked. So we basically replaced a few people from their team. They were switched towards other tasks, and they save like 10,000 per month now, thanks to this solution that cost them less. And they paid once like a setup fee, and then there's like small maintenance package, and they say the ROI is crazy because they save the same amount every month. If you look at it like for the whole year, there is 15x ROI for the supposed solution they bought from us. That was pretty nice, guys.
One clarifying question. Did those people get replaced, or did they get upskilled to higher leverage tasks?
They were switched. So those are small businesses, and then there is a team that can handle other tasks within their business, and they just, as far as I know, they were not fired. They were like switched towards other tasks within their process.
So I'm going to shift gears a bit. Not human replacement, but human improvement and upskill. So we worked with a healthcare company this year, and the use case was to eavesdrop on every single employee's calls, intentionally and well known, and basically take all the next steps of the calls and automatically write a prompt to help that employee execute the next steps of that call. So typically corporate education, just teaching someone what prompt engineering is, what natural language processing is, it doesn't stick, there's no retention, and the application's minimal. This day's system pretty much eavesdropped all the time and tried to alleviate all the different tasks that they were going to execute. So one, they're learning about how to actually approach prompting, and we would also suggest possible automations and walk them through step by step, generated from AI, what to connect to what to maybe alleviate and automate that task. So we helped them basically change the culture of thinking about AI instead of having one system take care of the AI thing while everyone else is just doing their all human tasks. This augmentation piece was like a big win because it's a very passive yet active way to learn AI without having to get into the weeds of how do large language models work? Why am I writing it this way? It's more so getting that practice over and over again, and also creating the mentality of, can this thing we just talked about be automated for next time? So that was one big win for us.
Nice. I'll share one just to wrap it up really quickly. Just to go right before Mark said, I think about AI as empowerment. So we work with a lot of people. There's team size of less than 5. We do AI social media systems. And usually if you're in the social media space, online, B2B, whatever it is, you're getting crushed by the big news. Output is there, content is there, teams are there. So if you can use AI to just empower yourself as a small business owner, 1, 2, 3, 5 people, whatever it is, and just put something out there and sort of find your groove, find your niche in your audience. I think it's huge, and it makes me feel good to, empower people so they can spread their message and their marketing, not just get absolutely hammered with output from the sort of the bigger people in the market. But the headline there would be, we did like 6 figures in 4 months for these people, so the systems work. But outside of the system, the biggest feedback we got was not the money. Okay, you're saving me so much time. I can now do this, I can do that, and the system semi-runs itself, so I could, live my life and then do content because, content we create, it's not necessarily the best, most fun action to take, but we sort of use AI to make it work.
What are you looking forward to in the AI space in 2025? What do you think is going to be big? What's next for you? What are you most excited for? Anything that comes to mind when you're looking at the next year?
The biggest thing I'm expecting for 2025 and what I'm most excited about specifically in our business in AI is how many businesses we can have impact in and what the biggest impact is going to be for this year. Are we going to increase the efficiency by hundreds of hours? Are we going to decrease the cost by hundreds of thousands? Are we going to increase the revenue by millions? Are we going to increase the profit? And so on. So for me, the biggest excitement about this is to create impact in businesses. Obviously, it always depends on the business you're working with. If you're working in a 100K a year company, you cannot have a 5 million impact. If you're working in a 500 million a year company, you can easily have a $5 million impact. So I'm very excited to see, first of all, how much the technology is going to improve so our impact can be bigger. And also on the other side, how well we're going to target the exact target audience and the businesses we can have the biggest impact in. And that's going to be partly my task as well. So I'm super excited for that this year.
I think 2025 is going to be a really interesting year because at least for us, when we build voice agents, this is going to be the first year ever where I think we will see an agent that even I myself cannot tell the difference whether I'm talking to a person or I'm talking to a robot. I think that'll be huge because right now the single biggest weakness that we have people have this concept. Keep in mind, they're used to IVR systems. They're used to just, let me talk to a person, let me talk to a person. Now, if people generally don't know it's a robot and they can't tell, they interact exactly as well as human, there will be no reason that, or every company that has human call centers will start losing to everybody else. I think that will create a huge shift, not just what we can make, but also it also brings up some other questions of, well, what are all of these calls that are going to do with the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of customer search reps? I think that's going to be the biggest change in 2025.
I'm super excited about vertical AI agents for 2025. I think the technology is there, and we as an agency, we are going to niche down and really target one vertical, but dive really deep and build a solution that would take care of very little aspects of one problem for one vertical. That will be our unfair advantage. So if you have to compare it to any off-the-shelf solution that is general and they don't target a specific niche, we will have to offer more than they can. So yeah, vertical AI agents. And maybe another prediction in terms of technology advancement. I think, and we just discussed this today with Jannis, I think it might happen that AI Zoom calls will be very natural by the end of the next year. So as it happened with AI voice last year, it became really good. Now it's very natural. You can really use it for business. I think in a year, we will be able to use the same with AI video calls. You will have an AI avatar and the lip syncing will be really good. And it might get to the point where we'll have AI agents talk to AI agents and solve our problems just without us using the app.
So I'd like to add something on top of what Bo said. And I believe this vertical scaling thing is going to be really, really cool. And I'm damn excited for this because it's not just that everything goes vertical. So that's one shift in the market. So instead of these horizontal solutions, we go more into specific requirements for agents that are built only for that purpose. Now, the cool thing is that it also shortens for us the deliverability. So when we actually need to deliver a solution, it's going to be a lot quicker, especially if we talk about big corporate CRM systems where we need months to integrate them. They offer that as a service. So for us as agency owners, we can find the right clients. We know about all of the tools. We know how they fit to their specific use case. And we can delegate them to the right people and actually help them to understand the thing and implement it. Because I think the biggest advantage for us is going to be the lack of knowledge that other people have about the voice AI space. And by us combining those dots, that's something I'm extremely excited for.
Actually, yeah, before you say that, can you please explain the difference between vertical and horizontal agent?
Yeah, like there's
general.
Yeah, there's a lot of, you can see that that's very, very subjective, but to make it very plain, for me, a horizontal solution is that covers multiple industries. And a vertical is if you're going inside of an industry, maybe you're in the industry or inside of the industry in a specific use case.
A very specific example is like, hey, a horizontal is like, let's say just brand or retail, they're just generalists. They're general. But vertical is like, let's say you are a very specialized software for a specific industry solving a specific problem. So it's all the way down. And that is super exciting. For me, and we've been talking about it the whole kind of trip that, hey, one of our key, or at least my key learning is that niching down is super, super important. And we're, how we're going to tackle those niches, especially with the embedded knowledge we have collected over time. But one thing I will say that is super exciting, which is a little bit different, is kind of like the rise of the multimodal. It's just super slept on, but like Google's new Gemini is so cool. It literally sees your computer, it sees what you're doing, you can like have like an AI, like a really smart person next to you that can do all the research, and you can use it on your computer while you're just living your day-to-day life. So when you just task that to stuff like function calling, it becomes the thing you just talked about, where it's literally the future where you have an assistant that can do everything for you and it's always active, and the bandwidth is with the voice is just like that. It's instant. But that's something I'm super, super excited about going forward.
That I'm super excited about. So, and then out in left field a little bit as well. And it's actually a wow moment that came on this trip like 2 days ago, I believe. There's a beautiful gym here in this villa. Some of the guys are working out. Mark was playing some music actually. And I'm like, oh, this music is pretty good. Like, this is good for the workout. He's like, yeah, bro, it's AI, completely AI. So what I think is really, really interesting is like personalized media experiences. So you don't have to go to Netflix to watch something. It's like, hey, I just want to watch a series about the boys in Thailand, whatever it is, Wrong idea, right concept. I think it's going to be massive. Like, I rather listen to music I could curate on my own. Yeah. I don't have to be controlled by what the people are putting out. I think it's cool. And I did not know, I could not have told that like he was playing music as AI generated. He was like, yeah, bro, this is not real. That's crazy. So I think it's going to be huge. It's only far crazier. For the good or bad of humanity, it's going to happen. And that's sort of a wild moment.
I think that's also something we all maybe can shift to that. It's good, it's bad. I have these conversations every day. I guess you guys have the same, like, random people you talk to about AI, oh, it's so bad, it's gonna do this and it's gonna do that. Yeah, might be, but it's also good on the other side. And it's something none of you or us can stop. So it's easier to accept it, go with the wave, stay on top of it, understand what's possible and what's not, and what's gonna change and shift in also social economy, right? Instead of complaining that it's bad. And if you stick with that mind, that it's bad for us, that it's bad for us humans, that it's gonna be a dystopian future, which might be the case, you will just be stuck with that for the next years and be just left behind while other people are in front of you and may know how to use it, how to utilize it, and how to make bank on it. That's also important in the end. We're all here because we do money. We make money in this business, right? We're trying to make money in this business by providing value. And you can't do that if you are against that idea in general. So maybe that's some food for thought.
Sorry, yeah.
We're very sad that Liam Otley is missing.
Yeah.
And Nikhil as well. Congrats to getting a baby. However, that's not a reason to leave us here. Other than that, we have a lot of fun. Thank you, everyone. Alright. And now we'll show you the villa.
Maybe I didn't.
And now we show a broke ass, like one